Good morning. My name is Juan Pablo Parra, and this activity or this video corresponds to the speaking challenge activity to the course of English B1 Plus. And today I'm going to talk about Bogota. Bogota, Distrito Capital, is my city in Colombia, and will be something like a travel guide, and will be something very interesting and important because I'm going to share Mm, the most important aspects about my city, perhaps some activities you can do in my city, the local cuisine, for example. I'm going to talk about the main aspects or the main places to visit, and some other recommendations that might be very important for you if you're going to visit this important and this outstanding city located right in the heart of Colombia, Bogota is the capital and largest city in Colombia. It is a very interesting place. Why? Because it's a place of conversation for people from all around the country and is therefore diverse and multicultural. And that's one of the most important aspects in Colombia. If you want to visit Colombia and to learn anything about the local culture in Colombia, you should visit Bogota. Because in Bogota, you can find some aspects from the North culture, from the South culture, also, for example, from the Pacific Ocean culture, and something very special, very important, and very interesting to discover. And for this reason, it's multicultural. And that's one of the most special aspects that makes Bogota a very interesting city. Within this city, the past and the present come together, and is also very important because you can find some very important buildings from the colonial times, and well as the main city from the Gran Colombia Bogota was. It is very interesting to discover the history of Colombia, and not just from Colombia, but also the history from all the region, yes, all the Andina region that might be Peru, Ecuador, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, just located and boiled down into one city is very interesting and very important. So, what to do in my city? The contrast between Bogota's colonial past and the 21st century is appreciated by walking a few blocks from La Candelaria, that is one of the most iconic places in Bogota, in the historic century where Gonzalo Jimenez de Quesada founded the city on August 6th, 1538. And the International Central Towers, that is this contrast, this very important and interesting contrast between the old buildings, the old colonial buildings, and the new ones. Yeah, these high towers in the center of the city is also a very interesting contrast in my city. Well, banks, of course, and other companies have their offices. So you can time travel between stone streets and towers with helipads. That is something also very interesting in a metropolis like Bogota. Well, travel tips. My first recommendation is to be aware of your belongings, as every capital city in the world. Yeah, not just because you are in South America would be different than Europe, for example, in London, for example, in Berlin, for example, in Paris. Well, you also have to be aware of your belongings everywhere you go. Unfortunately, you must take care of strangers and avoid lonely places, especially in the dark. Yeah, especially at the night. You mustn't forget to carry a water bottle with you, as sometimes Bogota could be very shiny and warm. So you have to carry some money because due to the characteristics of Bogota, it is well known to be a multicultural city and place, and you might find some of new interesting flavors to taste and beautiful souvenirs everywhere you go. And also, I recommend you to have a good company during your trip in Bogota. So the city might be very romantic and cultural. It might be very interesting to be with someone you love. Well, talking about the superstitions, I would say the most important one is a table. Bad luck follows if you pass a salt shaker directly to another person. You should just place the checker close enough to the next person to reach it. That's it. When to go, the best time of the year to travel to Bogota is probably during the months of December, January, February, and March. Because these are the months where the weather is driest. And well, we are located in a tropical zone of the globe, of the earth. And for this reason, it might be very rainy during the other months of the year. Good. Okay. So let's continue with my city and is okay. Where to stay? You can almost stay anywhere in the city, but the best area to stay in Bogota for sightseeing might be the historically rich neighborhood of La Candelaria, as I've mentioned before. But it is one of the most important areas in Bogota, walking the narrow cobblestone streets and winding through the centuries-old buildings of La Candelaria feels like taking a journey back in time. And this is something very special and worth a visit. What to eat? Ajiaco is known as Bogota's famous signature dish. Ajiaco is as much part of the Bogota experience as the city, churches, and mountains. Well, Bogota might be sometimes cold enough, like to want to drink something hot or something warm, like a good coffee, also recommended. Ajiaco is a perfect remedy to warm up your insides. Steamy soup is made with chicken, potatoes, herbs, corn, and avocado, and deliver with a serving of rice. Feel free to add cream and capers for additional texture and flavor. What to drink? As well as beer, as well, everywhere in the world you can find a good beer. Chicha is well known as the indigenous beer, and this is very interesting and very important because chicha is derived from fermented corn and honey. Yeah, however, the alcohol content can vary from zero alcohol to a heavy dose of it. Transportation, Bogota is a capital city, so it's a massive city and it has a population around, okay, between 8 million and 10 million people. Thus has a rather large public transportation system. And a key part of this transportation system in Bogota is the Transmilenio. Yeah, so it's a bus rapid transit system that runs all over the city. And yes, you can go to the main places of the city just taking the Transmilenio or the different buses from the system. And you can also consider to take a taxi, as it might be cheaper than in most European countries. Talking about the language, according to the 2005 census of Colombia, the country has 37 major languages. But still, Spanish is the main language in Colombia. Due to the colonial times and back to the history, yes, Spanish is now part of our culture and it has been in that way for a long time ago. But still, you can find some locals that speak English as a foreign language. As we are one of the most important cities in whole Pan America. And yes, it is also a business center. So for this reason, the English is you can find English anywhere. Perhaps not so remarkable in Europe, but still higher than different countries in Latin America. The currency is the Colombian peso, is the country's legal tender. And you have very different and a wide range of denominations. But you can also play with plastic money, easy card or credit card in most shopping places and restaurants. That is also very helpful. And there's not a real tipping culture in Colombia. Yeah. So it might be suggested, usually at 10%, but still it's not mandatory. And this is also something very useful to know. Yeah, and here we have some special, some different pictures of my city. We can find here the Santa Maria Bullfight Ring, one of the most iconic places in my city, as well as the Plaza de Bolivar or the historic center, and here the Transmilenio. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope that if someday you visit my city, Bogota, this information might be useful for you in your future trips, or perhaps you live actually in Bogota and maybe some useful information. Thank you for your attention. My name is Juan Pablo Parra Ramírez.